Hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is Friday, and it is less than 3 weeks to go to Beta 1. I'll let you know how we're doing as soon as I get the go-ahead. So, go ahead.
We have sound.
Yay! We still got a couple items to knock out. We're going to go through and continue to work on them even past feature lock. The good news is we're very close on them. We're still testing while, of course, we're working on things. So we're hoping that we can get everything knocked out next week and test like heck, after that. So the good news is we're still on track to launch on the 4th. But it's really, really tight. It's about as tight as it can possibly be. And we just found out truly seconds ago, Andrew had been trying to track down what he thought was the last issue with some of the code he's been working on. And he just figured out that it was a compiler bug. For those of you who are in game development, and you know what that means. They are a nightmare to figure out. And Andrew went into the assembly language code and found the problem. So, yay. Frustrating. Oh, it sucks. But, yay. Problem found. So, yeah. That's it on this part of the update. It's tight. But we're still moving along. We've been in testing here. We've been testing with folks, I think a bunch of today. We're going to be doing a lot more testing next week. We've got buildings. One of the screenshots from today's update I just took, which will show, I think we had 3,000 buildings on Hatchery, and I'm just walking and flying around them. They're the standard, very generic buildings, nothing very special, but it shows that the game, this part of the game, is working really well. I think my frame rate in the shots was about 114, so obviously that's acceptable, and they are of course all being networked. So yeah, lots of good things there. And let's get to the top 20-ish, because yes, we have just set a new record. It is 20 items today. Number 1, Road to Beta. So I just talked about all that stuff. We had hoped to go into feature lock this week. We're not. We're going to continue to work next week on features, but we are really, really close. I don't think there's anything in what's remaining that poses a big threat at this point to Beta 1. It's just time. But, I'll keep you posted. Number 2, testing. So Brian has been organizing and managing all of our internal feature testing and getting ready for more tests. So, yeah, lots of testing, lots more to come. Number 3, tech and art, building materials and performance testing. So that's kind of a big, huge, massive deal, and Rob is currently testing, of course, building performance with 3,000 plots on an island. So obviously this kind of testing is important for Beta 1 and beyond. We have to know how many buildings we can currently support on one of our islands, depending obviously on the size of the island. 3,000 plots, that's an awful lot of plots for not the biggest island we can potentially make. So obviously, boy, that's going to be interesting. When you run around, when you're running through 3,000 buildings constructed by players, different shapes, different sizes. But so far, the engine's held up really, really well. So another thing on buildings and plots is number 4. So we weren't actually expecting to have this for Beta 1. It's not part of the Beta 1 list, and that is how you pick your plot. Originally, we just were going to have the plots laid out, and you know, you can only claim a plot based on your position, and it would be a set plot, meaning that if you were in the middle, if you were in the front, it would all be wherever it was that the dimension of that plot was set. This time, we, at least for Beta 1, right now we have made it more freeform. So the plot that you get will be built around your current position. So that gives you folks more, obviously, ability to select exactly where you want the center of your plot to be. Wasn't expecting it for Beta 1, but hey, it's there. Number 5, crafting. So I did get a few hours. I wanted to have more today, but of course stuff came up. But I was able to get a bunch of hours into crafting this week. Worked with Ben and Christina on stuff. I'm going to get more done with it next week. Maybe come in as well on the weekend to get a little bit more done, but that's moving along also very well. I spent a lot of this week worrying about alloy recipes and setting up a system to make them very easy to iterate on during Beta 1 while we work towards the more developed, more evolved system is a better way to put it, after we launch Beta 1. Number 6, Builders Brigade planning. Okay, this isn't the best thing. You know, we're trying to get all set up for the Builders Brigade to come in, and we haven't been able to do so. We continue to push forward with buildings and the things we need, like choosing how many materials can be in the game for B1, D1. But as soon as we finalize on that, we'll get the Builders Brigade in. The good news is that whatever limitations we have now will go away as soon as we move to a 64-bit client, which will happen at some point during Beta 1. Number 7, work in progress, server stress testing. So one of the things we've been doing, as you folks know, for a while, and we want to do more, is stress the servers out when you guys and gals are not there. So Colin has been load testing the servers, and so far so good. Number 8, progression. So one of the very different things about Camelot Unchained is, of course, our reward system. How do you get things from your king? How do you level up your skills? All of that, from even before the Kickstarter began, is supposed to be through daily progression rewards. So Christina laid in the groundwork for that, so we'll actually be testing that as well during Beta 1. Number 9, new islands and abilities. So Ben, being Ben, doing very different things here, created a pass, first pass of the contested island, and then a builder island, and then when he wasn't doing anything, he went to abilities. One of the nice things that Ben has proven that he's capable of is doing more than just being the guy filling in numbers on a spreadsheet for abilities. You folks already know that from his doses of design, as well as a guy who's building out our islands as well. So well done, Ben, as always. Number 10, warbands. So JB has wrapped up most of the warband work. It's on Hatchery. We were testing it today with you folks. We'll be testing it a lot next week. So this is obviously a must-have for Beta 1. We talked about grouping. We talked about warbands. So it's there. Number 11, Sound Asset Builder. So Dave put his work into review earlier this week, including some quality of life things for DB. Good stuff, all necessary for B1. Number 12, multi-zone server. So, we've showed you some bits of the multi-zone tech from, last year. We're now hooked up and ready to show all the islands that, once they're all built out, for Beta 1, that you can move between them quite easily. So, again, not particularly sexy, but something we need for B1, D1. Number 13, server support and scalability. That's kind of a big deal. We have been talking, and just before I started to speak here, Tim and I were chatting about or how many people we can now bring in, or how many bots we can now bring in at one time. As you folks have seen from your tests, we like to have a few seconds, at least usually about a minute or more, between bringing in hundreds of bots. Well, Tim just ran a test bringing in 3,000 at the same time, and it was only hinky for about 30 seconds. So that's a huge improvement, and obviously a very important thing to have for the actual launch day. So what we hope to be doing during Beta 1 is running more of these kind of tests with bots and players, so that when we launch, one of the things that won't be a concern is how we can handle new players and old people, old players coming in, out and into the game at one time. And sorry if I'm a little bit fuzzy today. Threw out my back this morning, but because of all the stuff we had to do, I did not want to miss the day. Number 14, art, tavern, and bank props. So Dion was busy and audited and imported over 29 new prop assets for the tavern and banks. All part of making the first shot at the world actually feel like a game. And as I've said many a time, not just a tech demo. Number 15, trade UI. So AJ and Christina have the updated trade window UI working and have improved the player trade experience. So you guys should be seeing that next week in testing. Number 16, environmental art, home island template. So the home islands are kind of sort of important for you folks for B1D1. They're supposed to make, again, the game start to feel like a game. And so we're setting up templates for each of the different realms. We're setting up templates for the realms, and then we will customize them more and more for each realm. So all three realms right now are basically going to look very similar in terms of the town layout, and then we'll build from there. And keep in mind that these starter areas are simply that. They are the safe zones. They are the places equivalent to where, for example, you would be landing in the real launch after you've left the safe city. So it's all about having something that kind of feels like your home realm, but they are not going to be anywhere near as large and as interesting as the cities, of course, that you'll get on launch day. Number 17, social interface styling. James Koo worked on the UI styling for this interface, which we're going to add during beta. He's also starting work on a whole host of new icons for character creation, and once he does that, he'll be moving on to creating some icons for the crafting system. Number 18, art, VFX, and SFX. So Mike and DB continued their trek. Damn, I used to be able to do it. There we go. Continued their trek, and now I've lost my place here. Okay, where did this go? Trek.
Number 18.
Number 18. On the new special abilities this week, Mike completed a rough pass on the Stone Healer and Empath VFX, while DB focused on the Black Knight. Number 19, art, animation. Scott and Sandra close to wrapping up B1 goals for new class-specific animations. Yay! Which is also looking better stylistically than our previous iteration. And folks, this is something I've been saying for the last couple of years. Everything that you saw in, whether it was last year's, say, DragonCon video or the one before that, it's all part of the process. Andrew did his new animation system, and then we added new animations after that, and those were only the first step. They will continue to improve during Beta 1. We'll continue to add new ones. It's all about getting into Beta 1, not only with a game that looks better than it did a year ago, but laying the groundwork for making it look even better and feel even better during the initial months of Beta 1. Those are the months where we have to get things right. We have to get the animations, the VFX, the sound effects working the way we need them to do before we can bring in other classes, and other races, which obviously is part of the plan. Okay, last, thank the Lord, is number 20, the updated character creation portraits. So Joe has finished all the race, class pose variations, and class pose variations, which are now in John's hands to render. We're using the extra time, John's extra time, to hit some of our own stretch goals, not the stretch goals from the Kickstarter, and update some of the race and gender select renders. Post Beta 1, we'll update our character creation to use the in-game models and animations. Okay, that was a lot. Yes, hydrate, absolutely. That was a lot of items for a guy who probably should have stayed in bed today. So it's going to be a short one. Let's go 15 minutes, and we'll see how I feel after that.
All right, folks, give us your questions. John Milligan on the YouTube chat asks, can you address the plan for the game's netcode, tick rate, region locking, etc., given possible issues with projectile hit detection due to latency differences between the caster and target player?
Well, some of those aren't really connected to each other. You know, in terms of locking, we have said right from the beginning that our North American, and European brethren are all going to play together on the same server. So we're not going to do any region locking there. Might we region lock for Asia? Certainly possible. We don't have any deals with any Asian companies, so I can't say that we won't. But right now there's absolutely no plan at all to region lock folks. In terms of what we do, in terms of lag, that's something that's kind of been a big deal to us, you know, right from the beginning. We have people now playing from all over the world, and for the most part, things have gone pretty well. Our code is meant to withstand that. Obviously, no code is perfect. We can always improve it. But so far, you know, folks playing in Europe on East Coast servers have been fine. People coming in from even further have also been fine. Not outstanding, but, you know, there's no game, you know, frankly, in the world that can beat the speed of light. So, you know, there's only so much we can do. But as folks have seen, even with trying to network hundreds of ARCs, or in the case of the, you know, break the build test, 3,000 bots, our code is pretty good at handling all sorts of interesting stuff.
Lotoween has a two-part question. What, if any, features that you expected to include for Beta 1 back in February does it now look like will have to be added after July 4th? Or will there be more? And if none, then if a butterfly sneezes in Antarctica, will that remove the remaining margin of error?
Yeah, nothing has been officially removed yet, and by officially I mean that I've signed off on. And yeah, that butterfly, please, better not sneeze. You know, make sure it takes allergy pills, cold medicine, whatever. We are that close. And, you know, having Andrew having to spend 2 days because of a compiler bug, that doesn't help either. But at least he found it.
Flamas is asking for some clarification. So how many EU servers will there be for Beta 1? How is the planning going? And is everything good so far?
In terms of how many, we don't know yet. We will, before we launch, we'll take a poll from our European brethren and see what they want us to do. It's not like we can't just spin up servers in Europe. You know, oh boy. So I'm trying to remember where we would run out of, and I don't. My apologies for that. But no matter which of the capital cities we run out of, spinning up servers in Europe is not an issue. But we want to talk to our European backers about that, or CSC citizens about that. Do you want European servers? Do you want, you know, to split the player base for Beta 1? And we want, you know, we absolutely want your feedback. We'll be running tests in both regions. where we may run on the East Coast servers for certain days. We'll run on the European servers for certain days. We even spin up some on the West Coast. But the question for our European folks is, would you always want to have a dedicated European server? So we'll talk about that. And launch, of course, is totally different. But this is a beta after all, and there is no way we're going to get every single person, or even close to every single person, come in for a beta test of this, this game, just like you don't for any game that's doing an old school beta versus, hey, we're in beta, but actually we're live. We just don't want to say so.
I don't understand this question, but maybe you do. Sacrix asks, do you like your lattice crunchy or soft? And what do you think about that type of system versus CU's map design plans?
I love CU's map design plans. And of course I understand the reference. Sacrix is referencing a thread that has been going on now for 11 pages, and last I looked
on the new forum
for 6 posters, I think, or 5 posters maybe, about lattices. No, wow. I like the CU's plan. I wrote it.
Dark Society Network asks, if you had to give a ratio of produced assets versus assets in the game right now, what would it be? How much work did the art division actually get done during the delay?
I think that question is worded incorrectly. I think you're asking what percentage that we planned out we're going to, are actually in the game now. The answer is I have no idea, because to be very honest with you, we didn't plan out how many we were going to have for the launch of Beta 1. It's really a matter of how much time we have and how many props we can put in the engine.
Odilvik asks, will we be typing crafting commands in B1, or will the crafting UI be click and drag? Ludovic is lazy.
Well, we have the current UI for crafting, and JB has been doing some work on it. I don't know what the current status is. I've been working on the other end of the crafting process, the laying out of the almighty spreadsheets. So I actually don't know the answer to that, other than to say I know we want to have an improved UI for Beta 1.
Carlitos Wayleet asks, 3 weeks till beta. How, how do you not know if you will delay or not?
Well, that's easy. Just like you're doing anything, it doesn't matter whether you're making a game or you're launching a rocket. Things get scrubbed at the last minute. They get scrubbed because of weather. If you want to draw an analogy here, until we test with a lot of people, until people try things that the bots are not capable of, we can't predict whether everything is going to work. The history of making anything, certainly like a computer game, even a movie, delays happen even up to the last minute. And let me tell you, 19 days isn't the last minute. I've been obviously working and delivering on a lot of products over the years, decades, and things happen that you just don't expect. So, how do I not know? No one knows. How many games have you folks seen where people, didn't know even the last week whether they were going to be ready or not? It's close. Everyone has to hit, the mark. Everyone has to get everything done that they need to get done. If we do that, we'll be in beta if no major bugs come up during our testing. That's why you test.
5-minute warning?
Yeah.
All right, 5-minute warning, folks. Forced Chaos asks, for those of us with zero creativity, I still need a plot and a home. How do I get a decent one without me just having to make a square box?
You don't have to do anything in terms of laying out the dimensions of your own plot. You simply have to run to the spot you want it and take it, at least in Beta 1. When you go live, you'll have to earn the right to get a plot which will be awarded, by the king, and you'll be able to select a plot from the plots that are available. You don't have to be the least bit creative. You simply have to go somewhere and plant a flag.
Odovic passes along a question from Grumpy Old Bass, ... They want to know, how will the team be compensated for working on the 4th of July?
Hot dogs, hamburgers. No. Of course, we'll be compensated. We did that the last time we crunched. We'll do it again for Beta 1.
Dasel Pishoff asks, will you increase the work time to meet Beta 1?
Not officially yet. We'll make that decision on Monday. Some folks have been working later. Last night, a bunch of us in Virginia and some in Seattle worked late. We're not in mandatory crunch yet. We'll see. We will see where we are on Monday. We really want to make Beta 1. Again, we're not that far away. Am I afraid something could crop up? Absolutely. I've seen it happen before, whether it is one of our projects or projects from other companies. So we'll just see. We'll do what we need to do. But, however, if we do have to do that, one of the things that's very different from about CSC from a lot of other studios is that we don't burn our people out during the year. I was talking to a candidate yesterday, I won't mention the candidate's name, who during the interview had been told just how intense the schedule was at that studio, even when you're not supposedly in crunch. We don't do that. We have a studio which has, hours, where the hours are normal, where people don't have to feel or don't feel like they have to be here 10 hours or 12 hours a day just during the year, which I think is the right way to do things. So if we need people to come in, for the last few weeks, of course they'll do it. But like I said earlier, just as we did the last time, if we go to a crunch, even if it's a semi-crunch, we're going to compensate people just because it's the right thing to do. And compensation, as I say in the interviews as well, I've been interviewing a lot of people, is not pizza or Lady J's cooking or anything like that. Compensation should be more than a laurel and hearty handshake.
Doulos OG asks, what is the funnest new thing in that crafting dock work you've been doing that you are comfortable talking about?
Funnest new thing.
I have an answer. I got to write some lore in the crafting document.
Yes, he did. Max did get to write some lore, and in some of the alloy recipes, I got to be very snarky. I don't want to spoil it because it's actually a pretty good gag when you're reading through the various alloys. So that to me was the funnest part, and it's a good one.
That seems like a pretty good place to end.
I think so.
All right.
All right, so folks, sorry about the very short Q&A, but I have other things to do today, and like I said, I shouldn't even be here today, but I wanted to come in, get some stuff done, and talk with you folks. Look, all I can say is we're still on track, we're still on track for Beta 1. Obviously, we're working through feature lock, so I can't say we're on schedule. In terms of that, we are not, but we are still on track for Beta 1. Beta 1 on July 4th. It's going to be tight. We've got to keep our fingers crossed that nothing, bad happens during the next couple weeks. No showstopper bugs, or just things that are working badly enough that we don't want to call beta. We're ready to do that if we need to. I know that some folks will certainly not be happy if we have to delay it a little bit, and by a little bit it would be weeks, but we did lose a lot of time because of the GDPR. I mean, it's just that simple, and not because, as somebody said on the forums, because we had to rebuild the forums. No, that did take some time, and Brian and JB and Charles did a whole bunch of work on it. But the vast majority, and by vast I mean vast majority, has been spent on everything else to do with GDPR. So my time, Andrew's time, Tim, Mark, JB, Charles, etc., just got sucked into that black hole, and it ate up, like I said, almost every spare minute we had. So it's going to be tight. We're working towards it. I think, I hope that we're going to make it. The good news is, right now, we don't see one single major bug that we have to fix. There are a bunch of bugs we have to fix, but nothing that would be, oh my God, are we going to be able to fix this in time? Android, I believe, has knocked out the last one. Thank you, compiler, for not working. And that's a very good thing. Something new could come up, but we've been playing the game for days. Things have been working pretty well. We know that we have some issues that need to be taken care of, and we're going to talk about that on Monday with the team and start allocating out some bugs to be fixed instead of just features. We're not going to try to add anything new or bonus at the expense of fixing bugs. We don't want to call beta with a buggy, unstable version. We will not do that. I would rather pay refunds for people who are upset than call beta and then have you folks go, nope, they didn't live up to their beta promises, it doesn't have what they said it would, and it runs like crap. No, we're not going to do that. If we have to delay beta for a few weeks because either we didn't get the last features in that we needed to get in, or it was just too buggy, we'll do it. And the ones who aren't angry at us will thank us, because there's nothing worse than calling a game ready before it really is, unless you have to do that to survive. We don't need to do that to survive. We do not need to call beta for any other reason that we believe it is ready for beta. So keep your fingers crossed. You've noticed we haven't done anything like we did the last time, for Munchies for Crunchies or that. Not going to do it again. We did it once, and we face planted. It was that simple. So we're just going to keep our heads down and do our jobs. And we may turn the cameras on more, but no, we do not want anybody to send us anything else. We're not looking for extra donations. We'll simply show you that we're working, and that's how it should be, this time especially. So having said that, as always, thank you so much for your support. For all you new folks who have been coming in, and you've been coming in great droves, thank you for joining us. It's going to be a really interesting beta, and the thing that I'm going to urge so often from now until first few months of beta, keep in mind this is an old school beta. This is not a beta based on the way the vast majority of companies do it. We're just not in that position. We weren't in that position from the day we launched the Kickstarter to it funded. We said right from the beginning it was going to be old school. But the nice thing is, this beta 1, with the features we have in there, with the things that will be going in after beta 1, are going to make this feel more like a game than you folks have seen in years, at least from us. That is our fault. It took us longer. We're not going to let you down again. So thank you for your support. Thank you for your patience. New folks, this is how we do things. And I'll see you next week.
All right, keep an eye out for our update, and we'll see you later.